Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to today's design session, and my name is Abisho. I'll be what's it called? I'll be taking today's design session, and I'll be sharing how I was able to like achieve this particular web design here, and also the animation. So you're going to see what's it called? How I set up my design file, how I get things to look a certain way, and then how I also try to what do you call it? Try to add all this interactivity and all these animations just to like give it like a very pristine and very should I call it a very modern feel. Because I mean, it's one thing to have the design ready, then it's another thing to figure out how things are supposed to move and where they're supposed to what's it called go and all of that. So yeah, that's something I'm going to like, be sharing the entire process today, and you're going to see how to also use components to make stuff. For example, this stuff now you can see that it just like keeps looping. It's like a looping motion. So I'm going to share how I was able to achieve that. Whatever, what I don't really know if we can have the time to do is actually like the what's it called, singular letter animations, because I had to like split the text into like one line and then get it to animate. But that's by the wayside. So basically, I'm going to start with how I where I go for sourcing for inspiration. So for designs like this particular design, I think where I actually like went, what where I was really inspired by was this guy's work, or Halevi. Sounds funny, name sounds funny, but yeah, I think he's a what do you call it? The guy is a Israeli or an Israeli designer or something like that. So you can search his name, or Hale VURL. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat now, so you're going to see how it works. Let me close it and open it again so you can see the entire animation. Or Halevi. Okay. So search, open. Oh boy. Sorry, let me just do this thing. Okay. Okay. Let's see if it works. I'm not a robot. Yeah, so you can see how the whole intro animation comes into play, and how the guy like what's it called tries to like use the whole text animations. If you see, like, most of what is going on here is really like text animation. This text animation, and again, once you open the website, you see how this text like come into view. So it's just for the viewer to like have this sense of what's it called, easing into the content of the site, and that's the whole point of the text animation thing. So you can see how this guy utilizes it here. Let me do a reload. Sorry. You just watch how the text comes into view, and then it just like settles into the screen. So this was where I think this was what really set my direction for the design. Although you can see that it's not basically the same thing. So the thing about design is that once you're getting inspired by any particular design of any sort, try to also still do your own thing. Try to like give it your own character. Even though I'm being inspired by this guy's work, you can obviously, I don't know if you can tell, but then like with the way I like went with the like header text, the way this guy goes with them, his own header text as well, and even the rolling thing. Although the rolling thing already had the concept before, but I saw this guy easy, and I was like, you know what, let me even try to like drop it somewhere in my design. So yeah, you can see how to get inspired by other people's work and still maintain your own originality instead. So it's not just for me. I could have easily gone ahead to replicate exactly this thing I was seeing here, but then I tried to like put my own spin on it, try to move things around. If something was put on the left in design, I try to like move it to the right, and until I can be able to like just come up with my own original thing. So that's the whole idea of what's it called, stealing like a creative. Don't steal like a thief, steal like a creative. So yeah, that's it. So without much ado, let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Let me start by creating new file. New file. So creating new file in Figma. So good thing is that today we don't have to like go switch between spline and everything. If in case you're not familiar with spline is a 3D tool that I typically use every now and then to make stuff that I use in my design. So you can check it out if you want. Spline.design. Let me share this guy's link in the chat, so in case you need to check out his work, or Halevi. In case you need to check out his work, let me drop his link in the chat. The chat's coming up. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So yeah, I've left the links to his work in the chat, so you can just check it out in your spare time, and try to like open these links while the call is still on, because once the call ends, you probably will not have access to this link again. But yeah, that's by the wayside. So we have a new file set up. What we must do next is just to like add a frame. So typically I normally like add a desktop frame desktop frame. So desktop, press A on keyboard and look for desktop frame. But personally, as a matter of personal choice, I like going for a 16 by 9 aspect ratio. If you watch any of my videos or you've been part of my design sessions, I always talk about this thing, 16 by 9 aspect ratio. So I personally prefer that 16 by 9 aspect ratio. For this default default frame that Figma gives you, I don't know what aspect ratio it currently is on. I think maybe 16 by 10 or something like that. But then me personally, I prefer going for a 16 by 9 aspect ratio. What it means is that the base if you're not familiar with it, 16 by 9 is like the aspect ratio for standard widescreen. So TVs, computers, like lots of widescreen computers and everything, they use like that 16 by 9 aspect ratio. Even like typical movies are typically shot on the 16 by 9 aspect ratio. So basically what that means that once I drop this, you can see let me show you an example. Once I drop the width to 16, I drop the height to 9, and then I lock the constrain the properties, and then I just scale it up to, because by default the width of the other, the width of the original frame I added was 1440. So let me just scale the width up to 1440. You're going to see it's going to be like 810, and if I were to divide it, I think I should have done it the other way around so you could have actually seen what I meant by 16 by 9 aspect ratio. But that's cool. So if by default, if I added a frame, a Figma, just desktop frame of 1440 by 1024, I'm going to drop the height from 1024 to 810, just because I want to like maintain, because I've done like this thing like a couple of times, so I know that okay, 1440 by 810 is like a 16 by 9 aspect ratio frame. But in case you're not familiar with it, that's why I'm just like showing it. So if I were to just go to lock the constraint properties and then change the height to 9, you're going to see that the width is going to drop to 16. So 16 by 9, and that's the whole point of 16 by 9. If I were to also increase the height to 1080, in case you've not heard of 1920 by 1080, so if I increase the height to 1080, it's going to just go to 1920. So that's the whole point of the whole 16 by 9. It starts from 16 by 9 and then scales up like that. So 1440 by 810 is a good frame for me. If you want to use 1920, you can set the base, the base width and height to 16 and 9, and then just scale it up from there depending on what frame size you want to use. So that's by the wayside. So yeah, once we have that done, we can now start placing content. So for this design, I'm going to just add something. We are a creative. Okay, so you can see that the way this design is set up, like you have it's on screen. So you have we are a on one line, creative digital on one line, this design agency on one line. So personally, as a matter of personal choice, just because of I want to like save myself animating stress, I am going to I am going to sorry, 1 second. Okay, just as a matter of personal preference, I'm going to save me animation stress, I'm going to just divide them into one. Even personally, I think I would have divided it into like one letter each. Not letter. One letter actually, but or one word each. But let's not do all of that. Let's just do one line each. So we are a okay. So this font I'm going to be using for this design is it's called Mona Sans, MONA. It's a free font by GitHub. It's a free font, open source font by GitHub. Let me share the link in the chat so you can find. So you can just search on like Mona Sans, MONA, Sans, and you find the fonts. Mona Sans. Okay, I have the link here. So it's on GitHub. Let me drop the link in the chat so you can easily get it in case you need it. Okay. Yeah, so in case you're also not familiar with it, I also like share all the previously recorded design sessions on YouTube. So in case you miss out on anything in this session, you can always go back to Emisho Victor. Just go to YouTube and search for Emisho Victor, EMISHU, and then you find my name there, and then you see all the previously recorded design sessions. I typically upload like the next evening, like that's Saturday evening or Sunday, depending. So you just, as long as you go back and check, or you subscribe and turn on notification, you always be updated on like new videos or every time I drop them. So that's by the way side. So Mona Sant, I'm going to scale it up to, I think for this one I'm going to, let me check the size I'm using here. I really did not keep in mind what size I'm using. So size 129, let's do 130 just for sake of rounded numbers. 130. Okay, so we are a So for this one, the next one, I'm going to write. I would typically, let me just write them. Creative. Okay. Creative. Okay. So I am choosing to split this one because like I want to actually, you know what? Let me split themselves. Let me not split them. You know what? Let me split them. Yeah, I'm sorry. So creative. Digital. Yeah. Okay. Digital design. So typically, I don't think I would have split the text, but because I've done it before and I see that okay, you know what, it's easier for me to split the text from the beginning, which is why I'm going through the pain of doing all of this. So let me just, sorry, 1 second. Let me just get this text to auto layout them. So I use auto layout just to save myself the stress of like having to move things around. So another thing I want to do before I want to layout itself, another thing I want to do is to change this text, because if you realize like there's this like creative thing going on where this text like is kind of it's a different font. So I want to like have that effect here. So this particular font I'm using here is called what's it called again? I've forgotten them. It's called PP. Okay, editorial. Yeah, editorial old. That's the name. So editorial old, and I'm using what's it called, the italic version, the ultra light italic version. So yeah, you can find the font is also like a free to try, I think, or free for personal use. So let me check. Editorial old. It's available on Panagram. So in case you install any font from Panagram and you're looking for it on your PC, just type PP. So you can see that there's a PP in front of the text. Any font I install from, I get from Panagram, there's always going to be like a PP in front of it. So that's a way to know that a font was gotten from Panagram. So yeah, let me share the link in the chat so you can easily find that one as well. Okay. Yeah, so Panagram. The font editorial old is in the chat in case you need it. So yeah, I think that's one thing I want to set up. So you can see another issue I have when I'm dealing with like especially like huge text, huge typography. Yeah, sorry, huge text, is that you can see that it has like text typically once you add it in any design software. I think any design software, it always comes with like this top extra space at the top and at the bottom as well. It's on all fonts, although for some it's smaller than other. I think it's called X height. I think X and Y height. I'm not really familiar with the thing. Or Kenning and what's it called? Kenning and padding or whatnot. I don't really know the name. But yeah, basically, so I personally like getting rid of it because I don't want like it gets in the way of what's it called, dealing with the actual text. So Figma has a way for you to like easily get rid of all this extra spacing around the text. What you just need to do just to come to this option here, this button here, type settings here, click on it, and then you see go to vertical trim, and then you select this cap height to baseline. By default, it's always on standard, which is just a way for you to help you like space, especially if you're like writing them vertically. It's just a way for you to like have a vertical spacing in your text. But yeah, I don't want that, so I try to get rid of it. So you can see once I just click on this cap height to baseline, it just like trims all that extra spacing away, and then I'm left with just like the actual text itself. So this way it's easier for me to like handle the text and all of that. So I'm going to do the same thing for all this text. Just click here and go to cap height to baseline. So you're just going to trim for all the text. You're just going to trim the extra Y height. I think it's called Y height. I think. So yeah, that's that. So I can now start nesting things together, chunking things together. I think first thing I want to do is to check the typography size I'm using. So I'm using typography for the Mona Sans. I'm using like 130, and for this particular font here, I'm using a 118. Yeah, 118, because obviously like it looks you can see that if I'm using like the same size 130, it's like looks bigger than the Mona Sans. So I personally would just want to like have them have the same height. So which is why I'm using 118, I think. Okay, so you can see 118 like actually it has them having almost the same height, although visually this one maybe Mona Sans might look bigger sort of, but then yeah, I just want to like for this one I'm not looking like visual I am different. I'm just looking at what's it called, height. So I can now group them together or auto layout them together. I don't use groups. I only use groups in like very, very unique situations, because groups like and frames like they have different functionalities. But typically you find yourself using frames, auto layout frames more times than none. So the spacing between them, let me check as well. I don't want to guess. I want to do guesswork. Okay, 40. Okay, cool. So 40, 40, 40, 40 is spacing I want between them. Okay, typically I would have just like did them as one line and then change this one, but then like I said, that it's just easier for you to like handle text individually. So another thing I also want to do, like from the get go, is to like start what do you call framing my text. I want to start framing my text, because if you the way to achieve all this animation, like have the text like go into like some invisible space and then come outside, is to like actually have your text inside of inside of frames, so that in that frame you turn on turn on what's the word of that thing? Yeah, turn on a clip content. So once you turn on clip content, it's just going to make it so that anything that goes outside the frame just like disappears, So basically, that's the whole idea of having your text inside of frames from the get go. That I can do it later on, but then it's just like the step to save us future problems. So yeah, what I'm going to do is just like click on this text, right click on this text, and then press frame selection. You can also like use a shortcut on the keyboard, Control Alternate G or Command Alternate G. So frame selection, and make sure that once you're framing selection, you're also turning on clip content. So ideally, what you're seeing happen here is like I framed it. This is the text here. See the last one after. This is the text where and then I framed it like with I've put inside of a frame selection. So the frame is like exactly the size of the of the text. So you're not exactly seeing any change. So typically, once I move the content, actual text anywhere, you're not going to see anything happen until I click on the frame itself and then turn on clip content. So this way, you're going to see like the text actually like being trimmed, like it's disappearing because it's going outside the frame that it's supposed to like be inside of. So that's the whole point of clip content. Basically, if you're familiar with masking and whatnot, this is the whole idea of masking and all of that. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of masking the text, but I'm using like frames to mask the content, the text. So that's basically the whole idea. So I can just like bring the text back into view. Okay, by pressing text, okay, cool. Okay, now I can make sure your clip content is turned on from the start, because you're going to like need that along you. So also these two texts, since I want this text as well to like act independently, because like here now you see that it's like having its own effect, which the other texts are not having. So that's I want the text to like act independently, which is why I am going to like give it its own frame, because anything you're seeing like happening, all these text going outside the frame and then disappearing, it's all framed frame that have clip content turned on. Or if you're familiar with masking, you can use a mask if you want to use masks. But yeah, I can just frame this text. So I want to frame this text individually. So I think I also want to give this text, the frame a name. So let me name it let me name it let me name the frame top text line 1 or line 1. Let me name it line 1. Line 1. Okay, line 1. Okay, I'll name this one. Okay, name this one. I'm going to frame this creative like on its own frame. So I've selected the creative text. I'm going to frame it now. Control Alternate G or Control Shift. Command Shift. Command Option G. So I framed the text. I'm going to turn on clip content. But watch that once I turn on. So I framed the text, but then you can see that the text, the frame borders like are actually like intersecting with some of the actual text inside of it, because the text how do I explain it? So because the text some of the text ligatures, like let me call them ligatures, all these serifs and whatnot, they are like breaking the boundaries of the frame, and that's fine. So what I'm going to just do to do that is that once I have framed the text, I'm going to call this one, let me just name it creative. Okay, or create I'm just call it create, yeah, so I can know that it's different from the text. I got the text inside of it. So create, I am going to turn on clip content. So if I turn on clip content, you can zoom in. Although if you're not like really particular about details, like the details, the nitty-gritty details, you can probably ignore these things. But me personally, like, they bother me a lot. So I actually zoom in to see that, okay, you know what, it's clipping some of the text ligatures outside from the actual text. So I want to just extend the borders of the text. I want to first of all turn off clip content, and then use manually just extend, like hold command or anything really, or just stretch the content just to give more room to allow to cover for the the ligatures of the text. So just stretch it up. Okay, you can see that now it's actually like containing all the text ligatures. The text serif side of it. So I think it's still show cropping here. So I just want to just still drag it up a bit, just to allow allow it to like fit every content inside of it. So yeah, I think like this now, nothing should be outside of the frame except maybe down. So you can see that the down part as well is also doing the same thing. So I want to also do the same thing for the down part as well. Like just give enough room for all the text, to all the for all the parts of the text to be inside of the frame. So now that is done, good and fine. So the text frame height is 100, and I can now turn on clip content, and nothing. I will be rest assured that nothing, no part of the text is being like cropped out in here. That's basically what I'm to achieve here. So yeah, now once that's done, I can move on to the next text. So this is digital. I also want to do the same thing. Do I want to do the same thing? Oh yeah, I also want to do the same thing. Let me just frame it, frame selection. Okay, and then I'm going to call it dig. Let me just call it dig or digi. Okay. So I'm going to call it digi, and yeah, I think we're on our way to almost done. So let me just centralize the. I want to like auto layout center this stuff because it's some of them are like are not properly aligned. So yeah, once that is done, I'm going to turn on clip content. Like I said, make sure to turn on clip content. If not, you're going to like have some like really wonky looking results. Sorry, it's raining, so my sound in the background might be interfering. Let me just close my windows. Okay, yeah, so make sure your clip on is turned on. Also, clip on is turned on here, and we're good to go. I'm going to call this one line 2. I'm going to call this like frame that's containing both text, the creative and digital, line 2. Okay, and then this one I'm just going to frame it because they're the same text. There's nothing special about different between them, so I'm just going to frame them together and call it line 3. Let me call this one line. Okay, line 1. Okay, cool. So yeah, once that is done. Once this is done, I can also turn on clip content here. So you can see that this clip content is also like clipping some part of the text is going outside. So you always check to make sure that all the text is actually being covered by what's it called. All the text is being shown inside of the frame. So I want to also do the same thing here, just stretch it bits up and do the same thing for the down part as well. Okay. Yeah, so I think like this now we have all scenarios covered, and it's not it's not clipping any part of the text outside of the text. So that's done. And one thing I forgot to do was to actually like was to how do I put it? Was to see how vertically how to see how they will stack up vertically. But that's fine. That's totally fine. So let me just group all of select all of them and then auto layout. So shift 8 auto layout, and then just use like a convenient spacing. Let's do 24 and see. So I think 24 looks too tight. Let's see what we're using here. I think I'm using this one like 40 or so here. 28. Okay, so there's one like 28 here as well. Yeah, that's cool. So that's done. And the next thing I want to also do is to like have this this fancy rolling thing by the side. So typically I think I actually made it myself. So it's just basically like rectangles. Let me just see if I can quickly create something like that, because I want to like create the animation from scratch. I don't want to have you thinking how it was made. So 0 0 0, just make a rectangle of C. Whew. Okay, let's see. I want to just be sure of the size I'm using, size of rectangle I'm using. Okay, that's a 14 in width rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to create a rectangle here, 14 in width, and I think let's see the size 90. I think it's 90 is the size. 90, yeah, 90 is the size. So the height rather. So 14 in width, and the height is going to be like 90. It's 90. I think 90 is too big. I mean, I'm gonna check just to be sure. Okay, where's the size? Just to be sure. Okay, yeah, it's not actually 90. It's actually 90. So the height is 90, and I'm just going to like make it black. Okay, and then I'm going to duplicate. Ctrl D, duplicate, rotate, and what's called 30 degree. Ctrl D, duplicate. No, why do you do this to me? Duplicate 30. Okay. I think I should do this one, not 30. I think I should actually make it like something like 45 minus 40, minus 45. Yeah, and what's it called? Same thing here, rotate. So you have basically that same shape that I made in my design. You have it done here. I think it's one. Yeah, I think it's basically something. One, two. Okay. Yeah. Just a cross with another cross intersecting. So yeah, you have basically that same shape. So what you can just do, just to like create, like make it like simplify it, is just to like select all the shapes and then do what's it called, union selection. So union selection just merges everything together, and you can also convert to outline, sorry, flatten, to make it into like a single individual shape. So like this, you have like individual. So this is how some like complex icons are actually like made, in case you want to get into iconography and all that. So this thing to create that, like that what's it called, constant looping motion. That constant looping motion. I think another thing I also did was to, yeah, before I even made it what's it called into a shape. I think it works. I think it works. Is it? Okay. So to just like create that constant what's it called, looping motion, what you should do rather, is put that aside, do create a duplicate of it. In this duplicate, you're going to rotate this one. Sorry, before you even do that self. Uh, okay. Create a duplicate, then rotate it like what's it called. Figma doesn't allow you like do a full 360 rotation. If not, it would have been easy just like rotate it 360 and then just move on with your life. But Figma allows you like what's it called, do like step by step rotation. That's how you can achieve like a constant what's it called, 360 motion. So you must rotate it like, I think, okay, I think you can do rotate 90-degree, then duplicate, sorry, duplicate again, rotate and then 90 degrees. So it's going to be 180, and then you're going to also duplicate again. Oh boy, the rain is starting to get heavy. Duplicate again and rotate. What am I still on the right path? I don't think I'm still on the right path. I want to get it to zero, to rotate to zero. Yeah, so just rotate in circles until you get back to what's called the rotation here gets back to zero. So once you want to just like mark all of them and then create a component, set. Yeah, so you're going to component particle settings, you're going to just press start linking things together. So link this to this. So the what's it called, the trigger is to be after delay. So after delay 0, then not instant, smart animate. Let's do, I think like 400 should be fine. 400-ish should be fine for rotation. So let's do 500 just to be on safe. And also don't change the what's it called, the easing type to linear. You don't want any fancy thing that will break the whole interaction. So linear, and then the same thing from here to here as well. Linear, change it from one click to after delay, and set the time to 0. Sorry, to 1 or 0. Figma doesn't allow you to do 0, it just does 1. So linear as well, after delay 0. Okay, linear after delay, and then I think this one we can just, yeah, let's just do it like this. 0 after delay as well, 0. So the last thing you must do to make sure like go back to this state, just to move it here and then move it back to the second one. Since it's 0 and this is 0 as well, this is like 0 rotation. It's going to be basically the same. So just move this one back to this one, then set it to after delay 0 as well. So the motion just continuously loops, because one goes to this one, there's like that. So that's basically the whole thing. So let's copy and paste in the design and see if it will copy. We just copy the first one, and then paste in your design. Let's paste anywhere, really, and see moment of truth to see if it works. Okay, let's see if it works. Play. Let's give 1 second to load up. Okay. Oh, for some reason Figma seems to be slow, but that's by the wayside. So let's just quickly keep setting up other things. So I'm for the nav bar, I don't think I want to like what's it called, design a new nav bar. So I'm just going to copy this nav bar from here and add it to my design here as well. So for the body text, I'm going to be using New Montreal. So I've used like New Montreal a couple of times in the past, so I just want to still use it again. So let me, what's it called, New Montreal. I'm going to paste the link in the chat as well, so you can get access to it if you need it. Everything seems to be slow. I think maybe with the whole rain and everything, my network is like really bad. So apologies for in case I go off. So I'm going to post this link in the chat as well, so you can get access to it. So Remove Montreal is also from Panagram. And if you're looking for any text from Panagram, just search PP, type PP on your keyboard, and you're going to like find that particular text. So let's see. So yeah, you can see that the what's it called, the animation is actually like working. It's actually working as it should. However, I think it's too fast. So what we're going to do is probably just slow things down. I think it's not too fast. I think I made a mistake. So well, that's fine. So it's just for you to increase the time it takes for the transition to happen. So you can increase to like, let's say 800, or should be 800, 1000 actually. 1000. That's 1 second. 1 second per 90-degree rotation. One second per 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. Yeah, sure, don't worry, Joel. Like, it's going to be shared on my YouTube channel. Just go to my YouTube channel after, maybe tomorrow. You're going to find the recording there by tomorrow evening also. So yeah, you have network issues, good and fine. You can always watch the screen recording later on. So yeah, I'm going to increase the what's it called, the duration of the animation to 1000 milliseconds for all the other ones, and I think with that it should be good. You should turn just fine. 1000 milliseconds. Sure, you know, I think 10,000. Okay, so that's done. We're going to see the effect now. So you can see that it moves like much slower. So much slower, which is what you really want. You want like you don't want to like just be speeding anyhow. So that's that. I think we have this element sorted out. We can just like add it to our design. So to add it to our design, copy it, Ctrl X it rather, and I want to paste in this is like paste inside of this frame. However, I want it to I can paste here, and then I'm going to frame it together with this item here, and then align what's it called, set direction to left. So if you're familiar with auto layout, all these things it's not going to be rocket science to you. But then if you're not, you can good and find your settle with like normal using normal frames or normal groups, or just even putting elements individually on the design. But then it's good to have auto layout knowledge, so you can know how to sort out this thing. So yeah, that's done. So I'm going to just set the spacing from the text to the to the star. Let's call this thing star. Okay, from text to star, I'm going to set the spacing to 24. Yeah, so just move it to the left instead. Why I'm trying to move to the left is like I want to like just make it like create this sort of should I call it direction or motion? Like it's moving, it's truncating the whole, it's breaking the whole the traditional layout. Instead of having like all the text stacked by the left, I want to actually like make one move inside a bit, which is why I'm actually like having it in this manner. So that's just an interesting thing you want to like consider. If I was not even having this having this star here, I would have still like had it like left it like this, because I want to like still have create that sort of break in the conventional layout. I want to just have like this breaking the conventional layout, which is why I'm like staggering the whole text layout. So that's something I want to have. Network's really bad because of rain, so in case I go off, please I apologize, which is why we're having like all these unsaved issues, whatever. So yeah, once that is done, you want to now start placing text, because typically I just like creating stuff and just placing them anywhere. Now you want to see how I actually want to like organize my content. So I want to create a grid. Oh boy. Create a grid. Sorry, the rain is really bad. In case you're struggling to hear me, the rain is like really bad, and I am having to like speak louder than usual. So yeah, I am going to create a grid. So click on the desktop frame, add layout grid, and then set the grid. What do you call it? I think it's 8 I use. Let me see, just to be sure. 8 columns. Okay, 20, 40. Okay, it's cool. So I am going to create a grid, add a layout grid, and then I'm going to click on this icon here, and then set the columns, and then set the column count to 8. 8 columns. I want 8 columns, and then I'm going to set the margin to 40. So the margin is spacing between left and right, like from the start of the frame to wherever the content starts from. So margin, I'm margin in books. So yeah, 40. Set the margin to 40, and then the spacing gutter to 20. So gutter is this like spacing in between the grids. I ideally don't actually want to like start content from the gutter, but content can cross from gutter to gutter, but then it should not start from the gutter itself. So that's basically just a thing you want to like have any like know about designing with columns as well. So yeah, you can see that I'm going to now like use this grid to like set my content. So typically I was even limited anyway before, so I'm going to like align it to make sure it's touching the edge of the grid. Make sure you zoom in, and like if you're not zooming in to like make sure that everything is pixel perfect, then what's the point of like using the grid in the first place? So yeah, you're going to see that the spacing from the left to right, sorry, to left from the left of the content of the frame to the content is like 40. So yeah, you also want to like move it to the top to make it touch, because the navbar, this is the navbar icon. It has like what's it called, the pattern around it, like it has a pattern of 20 around it, and then I'm going to make the content just like touch the navbar itself. So it's starting from the bottom of the navbar as well, and then I'm going to like just stretch the content out to fill the entire grid as well. Although you're not going to see any change in the content, because the content themselves, they are not actually running like all the way, but if they were, it would like stop here and then break into the next line. So that's the whole idea of using the grid. So let me just do fill container for everything. Yeah. So now that's done, the last thing I want to do is like create like the bottom part of the design, which is this content here, and then the image. So just to do that, it's just basically just grab an image, grab a rectangle, draw a rectangle, and for this rectangle I'm going to like make it like take up a significant amount of the grid spacing, because you can see that I am like running this design thing here where things are just white. So I'm using like so I call it wideism. Let me just call it wideism. Let's just use that word, wideism, because the text, you can see that they're actually like wide text. Even the monad size I'm using, like I forgot to mention, monad size I'm using regular wide for the weight. I'm using regular wide. So in case you select monad size, don't go and use like narrow and all the rest. Like use wide just to like achieve like this really wide looking look. So for the image as well, I want it to be wide as well. So I'm going to make it take up more grid areas than the other content I'm going to put on the other side. So I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, typically I would have taken 4, which is half of the grid half of the of the grid I've set up. So you can see 4, like you can stack 2 contents on the grid and they will sit like equally 4 grid spacing. But then I want one to be wider than the other, so the whole thing is wideism. So I'm just going to like make it take up 5, which is one more than the other one. So another thing I want to do as well is to just scale it up. Like I'm not being too particular about size now. You're going to see why. So I'm going to scale it up to make it touch touch the content where this content stops. So I'm going to just like space them away. Let's do 40. I think 40 was spacing I used for the content. Okay, yeah, 40. So I'm going to make it 40 pixels away from the text that's above it, and then also 40 pixels away from the bottom. So you can see it's currently 48. So I'm just going to like extend increase the height, or I can actually increase all the way down and then just come here to the height and then minus 40 from the height. So you're going to see that it's going to have 40 from the bottom, 40 from the left, from the right, and 40 also from the top. So you have like this. I won't call it perfect, but then you have like this really good looking design. So yeah, let's see how it reflects here. So you can see here, you have it just flush, everything like the spacing around it just like really flush, and it's okay. So yeah, that's what you want to achieve. So for the text itself, you want to like just create like a body of text. So I think I'm going to use the same text I use for this design here. Let me grab one like design. Okay, let me grab one here and just paste it here. Okay, let me paste it outside so I can. So I'm going to paste it here. The text, I'm going to make the text take up the remaining grid space, which is 3 column grid I reserved for the text. So I'm going to also move it up to be aligned top with with this image here. And okay, I'm going to zoom in, so you can see that the image is actually breaking the grid, which is what you actually want to like sit flush on the grid, because if you're using the grid, you want everything to like actually be flush perfectly on the grid. So that's that. And once you have this done, so the font I'm using here, like I said, is New Montreal. The size is 18, and I'm using the book width of it. So you have all those things set up, and then you want to have your buttons. Just create like 2 buttons. I'm not really going to be, but buttons are not really like fancy, so I'm not going to like go into detail about them. So I'm going to make the spacing between them and the items 24, and then auto layout them together. So once you've auto layouted them the thing together, you have this design done. You typically have design done. However, personally, I feel like this what's it called? I feel like the spacing from the text website actually do it a lot. Where ideally you could have actually left it like this. Like, okay, you know what, this everything is sitting perfectly on the grid. The content is stretching to fill the available grid space, and the image also. But then if you look at it, like it's looking a bit tight. I don't know if you can see it, but me personally, from my own point of view, it's like looking too tight. It's looking like too much to get. It's looking too close to the to the image. So what you can do is just to like add inner padding. Website actually do it a lot. Add inner padding, like for inner left padding. Is it left padding? Sorry, right padding to this to this frame, to the text frame, just to give it some, just to push it back a bit and give some spacing away from the text. So you can see that the actual grid is still sitting on the actual auto layout content is still sitting on the grid, but then the inner padding, the inner left padding, let me do like 24. Okay, it's now set it to fixed width first, and then shrink it down. Set this one to fill container. So you can see that, like, yeah, you can see that it's 24. This is actually the grid that contain. Sorry, this is actually the frame that's containing the text and the and the buttons. But then I am adding like an inner padding just to like push the content back a bit and like give you some breathing space away from the, you can't see it because like network sucks and does not update it. But basically, yeah, I just want to just do that, just to like push my content back a bit and like give some breathing space from the image that's close to it. So I also want to set it to justify. I think I like the look of justify. Justify just feels, makes the everything content just have the same border. So that's something I want to also do as well. So yeah, we have this set up with the help of our grid, and I want to just like nest. You can choose to nest these things together. I don't think it's really necessary. I don't really think it, because this stuff, I know, let's not bother going to that too much. So the last thing I want to do is to like add an image here, add an image here. So open up Splash, on Splash. Okay. Okay. So another thing I want to do is I want to actually group. I want to frame this image. This is supposed to like be where I put my image. So let me just rename it to image. Okay. I'm going to rename it to image. I also want to frame it. So I'm going to click on the rectangle and then press frame selection. And then this frame selection, I'm going to click content and then increase the corner radius to 24. Just to like give you this rounded stuff. So you can see the rectangle itself inside is not rounded, but then the frame that's containing it's rounded, and then it's like clipping the the rectangle. So that's why I have this effect. Okay, so I'm trying to like add an image, but then network just sucks for some reason, and I can't seem to like get on Splash up and running. I hope you can still see me. No, okay, but yeah. I think let me just like use my image from the other design. So I think I just like got an abstract image from on Splash and added it to my design. Trying to do the same thing here, but I can't seem to do that because network sucks. So I'm just going to like click on this image here. Click on the image here. Okay, on Splash finally opens up. So I'm just going to click on select my image, my empty image state, and then select abstract. So I'm going to just add an abstract image. So you can just choose anyone, but personally I like going for something that fits the orientation of my design. So I'm going to select landscape and then set it to free because I'm a free I'm a sucker for free stuff. So I'm just going to like get the free version of this free image. Or I think let's do something different for this one. Let's select this one. I think so. It's also important to like actually choose image that like have the theme of the design. I went for this one because like it had like this plain minimalistic theme. I'm using color here. I'm not supposed to use color. I'm not supposed to use color, but I'm just going to choose this color just to like add a splash of color to my design. Because personally, I want to just go with that theme of monochromatic design all through. So that's why I actually went with the other image. So it's important for you to like choose an image that fits the theme of the design. You can't just go and slap like an image of whiskey here now, because whiskey doesn't fit the theme of this design. So that's basically one thing you want to like keep it at the back of your mind while you're trying to like do other designs, not just this particular design, other designs as well. So that's that. I don't think this color even fits at all. So I'm just going to like stick with my monochromatic image. Yeah, I think this just fits the theme. It's cool, it's calm, and it feels just feels like something that will fit into like the world of this design. So you can see the here, the results here, and everything is good and fine. I think it has a bit of color to it. It has a bit of tint. So I want to desaturate it. So I want to click on the option here and then go to desaturate. Saturation, turn it all the way down. So it's actually like pure black and white. Like there's no ounce of color to it again. So that's so we can now actually start the actual animation. So to start the actual animation, since I've already set everything else up, you just want to like start moving things around now. Just duplicate this version, create a duplicate of this version here, and what you want to do now is to actually go inside of your design. So click on, make sure the text, you know that the text, when I was doing it in the beginning, I said I was putting the text inside of frames. So this WI is inside of a frame that the click content is turned on. So I'm going to select the WI and then move it down. Okay, so you can see that it actually disappears. It disappears because it's inside of a frame that the click content is turned on for. So that's one thing I want to do. Personally, if I had more time, I would have broken the text into like one letter. To even do that, let me just show you the plugin. It's called Nisa Text. Although it's kind of stressful to work with, but if you can get it right, you can actually like get it really good. So I'm going to do to use the text, to use the plugin, you must first of all duplicate your text first in case of mistakes, in case you make mistakes, so you can actually have like a backup. So once you want to do duplicate the text, and then go to this option, split a word. So there are multiple. There's a split a line option, there's a split a word option. So you can split a word here. So split a word, you're going to have it split. So you can see that once it splits, like some of the words, it splits with auto layout. So it's just going to like just mess up the word. You have to like start aligning things again and all of that. So, which is why I don't have that time to actually start doing all the all the breaking the text into one letter. So it's kind of stressful. But if you have time, if you're doing a personal work, try to like split into one letter. It's going to like have a nicer effect to it. So that's by the wayside. But for this section, we're just going to like move the text as a chunk, as a block. Or from the beginning, you can actually just like write your own as one letters each, and then maybe use that. But then it's going to still be stressful as well. So that's just, so move it out of the frame. So move it out of the frame and just like give it good distance. Typically, I'm going to leave it here, okay, at the bottom, so it's touching the top is touching the bottom of the frame. I'm going to just like still move it down like a bit. I'm going to hold shift and then press down, just like move it in like a huge number. So you can see that it's moved. Distance away from its original frame is 10. So it's 10. Let me use the word 10 feet. 10 pixels down. It's 10 pixels down from the from its original position, or from the actual frame which it's actually inside of. So yeah, that's that. So the creative one, this one to have like that looping text effect. You want to like move it outside. So you want to move the create this create thing outside. Move it outside, and then create a second version of it. So in the second version of it, we're just going to move the text down. Okay, I don't think we can actually do that. I don't think, but let's just do like the entire thing first, and then we'll see if we can sort out this one. So I want to also have this thing here, this particular one here, inside of a frame, inside of its own frame. So I'm going to frame it, frame selection. I'm going to turn on clip content as well. Let me just call this one star. Okay, so I'm going to, because I've changed something here that's not in this final copy. I want to copy it from here and paste it there, because you want to actually have the same things across. If you want your stuff to animate like really nicely, you have to like have them having the same name across the different designs. So I want to paste to replace here, So you can see that here is star. Here is also the same thing is also here. So yeah, that's basically the same thing. So what I want to do now is select the star here, and select the content here. Okay, select the star here, select the creative, and then select the digital. So I'm holding shift and command just to select the actual text when I'm doing all this. So I'm going to just move them together downwards and make sure they're outside of the frame. Okay, let's do it's 10 away from the multi-code. So the first one, take note, the first one was 10 pixels beneath its original frame. So this one, we're going to like make it like 20 pixels. So let's make it 20 pixels, so that they actually like have like they come out at different times. So let's make it on 20 pixels, or let's make it 30 even, so 30. So no, 20 is fine, 20 is fine. So 20, move it down, so you can see that this is the original frame. Sorry, this is the original frame here. We're going to make it just 10. It's point something, but no one, that's totally fine. Let's just, so once we have that, like this setup, we want to hold them shift and hold alternate as well, and then go to the last one and select the star, because star is the first one. I want star to come out first, and then I want creative to come out next, and then I want the one that's at the right to come out after. So like step by step. So I want to now move all these ones, like move the creative down, to be like 30 away from the original frame, because this star here is 20 away from its original frame. This one is 10, this one is 20, this one is 30, and then the digital is going to be like 40. Okay, don't mind the 43 and all. I'm moving them together, so it's just giving like some weird figures, but that's totally fine. So it's for something for 43, but typically it's going to be 44. Actually it should be 40, but you know, let's just make 40 for posterity's sake. Creative as well, make it 30 as well. Okay, so that's cool. So the star, you can't see those things because they're outside of their frame. The star is going to be like what's it called 20. Okay, so that's cool. That's cool. So if I were to bring that side, I'm going to show you, I'm going to just show you what I'm doing here. Bring that side. Okay, and on clip content for all of them. So you can see how what I mean by them being staggered. So you can see that the text, like the what's it called, where the star is higher than where the creative is, and then the digital is also higher. Although you can't really see because like it's just a difference of 40, 30, 20, just a different one. But then it's going to make a significant difference when we start to animate. So for this one, I think I should have broken design agency into like one text, but that's good and fine. That's totally fine. So let's just move the design agency downwards as well. So this one, since the last one here was 40 away from the thing, we're going to make this one 50. Design agency, we're going to make it 50. So just make it 50 away from its frame. So they have like they come out at different what's it called speeds and different times. So that's just a fancy way to like add some stagger into your animation. So that's that. For this image here, we're going to select the image, the actual image inside of the frame, and then expand it up, just like scale it up a bit. You know, there's no really size, there's no actual size for it. So scale it up a bit and then turn the opacity down. Just turn the opacity down to 0. So the opacity here, set it to 0. So that once this is the before state, this is the after state. So in the what's it called, in the after state, it actually like shrinks down and also like reveals, like just fades into view. That's all the effect we're trying to have. Then for the text here, I also want to like just select both of them, and then because the buttons rather, because the auto layout here currently, so I'm just going to like reduce the auto layout spacing to 8. So you can see here like there's no auto layout here, and then in the after state there's a auto layout. So sorry, the spacing grows. So I want to have that transition effect. So I'm just going to like do that, like shrink the spacing, the left and right spacing to 8, and then I'm going to just turn down the opacity of all of them, so that it fades away and then fades into, it expands and fades into view when it's actually happening, when it's actually like transitioning. So for this text, I would have personally preferred to like break them into like into lines. So you can see in this design here, like they both have, just like we did for these other ones where they come out from inside the other frames. That's what I did. I broke this one into lines, and then they come out from inside of their frames. But we don't have that time to do all of that now. But you can do that in your process. So we're just going to like turn the opacity down for that one, and then the same thing for the nav bar as well. So we have this setup. We can just like do what's it called, prototype. Drag to prototype. They just drag here to here, and then let's set it to. Should we set it on click? Let's set it to hover while hovering. Let's just do hover. I think hover is a good thing. So the animation is going to happen at a what's it called, with a ease out. So ease out just works good for what's it called, for showing reveal states, and the duration is going to be 1000. Okay, I think that's all good. So let's see how it works all together. So I'm just going to bring my mouse in, so you can see how it actually happens. So you can see that the we are a comes, or you can't really see it because I think the space is not as much as I could have made it. So you can see what happens. You can see that this text expands. You can see that the image settles in. You can see that what's it called, all these text, they come out into, yeah. So that's basically what you want to have. And this thing, since it's a component, since this particular style is a component, it's just going to like continue rolling as long as we have the stuff active. So that's what you want to do. How you can be able to like achieve this very, very simple effect. Like I said, if I have the time, just like I did for my personal one, I broke my own text into like one letter, and then I like moved them like downwards at a different pace. So let me just show like a quick a quick sample of it. Sorry. Okay, let me show you a quick sample so you can understand what I'm actually trying to say here. So you can see I broke the text into like one letter. So you can see in my own design, one letter. This letter is higher than this one. This one is higher than this one. Just like that. So that's why you have this like what's it called, this really nice easing in effect. But for this other design, the only thing we were able to do is just like break the thing word by word. I think word by word have worked actually. But yeah, that's the best we can actually do for now. So if you have the time and what's it called, then as you try to break them into single letters and then just try to like have the animation. Also this one, I also made a component as well. Let me share the file so you can have access to dig around and see what you can achieve. But that being said, I think we can like what's it called, with this, we are actually like done with this particular design session. This particular one I could not do it because it's going to like take a bit of time, and we are currently out of time. But I'm going to share the link to my own file in the design, what's it called, in the chat. And if you have any questions while going through it and trying to like understand what I did there, you can reach out to me and I'll give you any response and help you need to achieve. So let me drop this particular one in the file and share the file in the chat. So it's on page 2. Sorry, page 2. Okay. I'm also going to drop the component here as well. Moment. So this is the component I created for the text, for the creative text. So you can see the creative text. This is what happens with it. So I'm going to drop the component here as well, so you can have access to it. This is the original one. Original design session. Okay, so let me share the link now so you can have access to it. So before we end the call, just try to like open the link anywhere so that you can once the meeting ends, you can still have access to the links. Try to open the link and so you can have access to it anytime. I'm still going to share it online as well, but if you don't have access to the link, feel free to just reach out to me and I will I will share it with you. But that being said, we're actually done with the design session, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, in the presence of none, I will assume we're done with this, and I thank you all for who were able to make it. Sorry about the whole network issue thing. It's just really shitty because of the rain and everything. But yeah, I'm going to upload the video. This is what's a particular video on YouTube tomorrow evening. Yeah, tomorrow evening. So just feel free to check back in. Go on YouTube and search for Emisho Victor, and you're going to like find all the videos there. Even this video, you're going to find it. If you don't find it there, maybe tomorrow evening, you can feel free to reach out to me on Twitter as well, and I'll let you know when it's going to be up. So that's that, and I will see you again next design session. Thank you for coming. Bye.